Our guest tonight on Toyota Sports Talk, the man, the myth, the legend. We got Lake Lewis. Does a great job covering the Washington Commanders. Lake, it's been a little bit, but oh, my friend, we are getting closer and closer. The fun's about to begin in Ashburn.
It is, and good to see you, Scott. I can't believe what 2 weeks away or
Yeah.
2.5 weeks out, and it's coming. It's coming real fast, but I think we're all excited.
I love the word storylines because, there's no shortage of storylines. So give me kind of your top couple of storylines that, you're going to sink your claws into it when you get up there to Ashburn.
But I think first and foremost is it's a new look as far as the structure and organization. So it's going to be interesting to see how Dan Quinn and the staff that he's assembled, and it's just going to be interesting to see how they run actual physical practices with pads. Obviously, and then Jaden Daniels. I think everyone wants to see how well does the rookie look, and does he look like the guy that'll be under center for week one? Obviously, it starts in training camp. Finally, just the talent level. I think it appeared to us during mini camp and OTAs that the talent level looks different. They look faster and they look like a much more physically imposing team. So I'm just looking to see how these guys are going to be out there running around and playing some meaningful football.
What are you watching exactly? Like, what people always come up to me, Scott, what do you look at? Like, what do you watch when you're watching practice? So Lake Lewis, what do you watch for when you're watching practice?
That's a great question. For me, I look for competition, pushing each other, and unfortunately, over the years, we've seen some really good frontline players for Washington at times. You've had the Deshaun Jacksons of the world, Pierre Garçons, Jordan Reeds, but there was really no one behind them. So now, I'm looking to see competition because I think if you have a second and third wave of young players that are hungry to prove that they belong in the league, it's going to make the frontline players better.
I've seen some pictures and video of off-season workouts, some of the players getting together. I think it was in Oregon with Marcus Mariota. You saw
Mhm.
Jane Daniels, several receivers, Jahan Dotson. What does that tell you? What does that show you?
Well, it shows you that they like each other, and that's important. It shows you that these are guys that, although they're competing for, to have quote unquote a starting spot, these are guys that also are teammates and they're going to push each other. And the better you are out on that practice field, the better your teammates going to be. That's a sign of leadership, and that's a sign that guys believe in what the direction, Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are trying to row this team.
It's not going to do you any good if you have a good rookie quarterback that can do some damage, but if he's running for his life every other play. So we don't want that. So
No.
offensive line, I think, is the big question mark offensively for me.
Yeah, it is. It's for everyone. And I think that, let's just say it is Jaden Daniels, who we both think will be the starting quarterback, week one. He's a guy that's a dynamic player. He's mobile, but he's a true pocket passer with a great arm. And I think when you have a dual threat quarterback and a quarterback that defensive coordinators really have to game plan for, I think you can hide some deficiencies in your offensive linemen, and maybe those offensive linemen will look a lot better because of the type of talent that
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels is. So I think that this offensive line will probably look a lot better. And I also think the way the game's going to be called from them with Cliff Kingsbury, I think you'll see guys doing things that they're capable of as opposed to what they're not.
Defensively, I feel like there's some buzz surrounding Quan Martin. He had a
Yeah.
good first year as a rookie. I think he turned some heads, impressed some of the coaching staff of what he could do during OTAs and mini camp. What do you think about Quan Martin, Lake Lewis?
I'm a huge fan. And I think the way he came on strong pretty much in the second part of last year when, we don't want to mention the old coaches, but when they figured out some of the things that he could do, which was what he was doing all along back at Illinois, I think you saw him start to become the player a lot of people thought. Well, now I think in Joel Witt Jr.'s defense and Dan Quinn obviously as well, these are guys that, look for guys that can create turnovers and just wreak havoc on the field. And I think he, along with Mikey Sanistro, I think that those two guys are going to be a really scary tandem as far as where they're going to be all over the field.
There's the big name players like the Jaden Daniels, the Bobby Wagners. Who's maybe the X factor? Who's the guy that could really shine, impress the fans, somebody to keep an eye on during camp?
Dorrance Armstrong. I think,
Dude,
you
that guy's a beast. He is cut.
he is. he's as advertised, and I
Yeah.
think that he's one of those guys. And actually, I was thinking Frankie Louisville as well.
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys that were really good football players in situations where you didn't really get a chance to know how good they were because Louisville was in Carolina. They stunk last year. And then you think at Armstrong, naturally you think of Dallas, you're thinking of Lawrence and Michael Parsons and those guys. But this guy put up, really good numbers when he was on the field. So I think those numbers look even better in Washington because he's going to be a guy that's going to be on the field more than he's off of it.
Give another one to you, Jeremy Chin, because remember, he finished
yeah.
runner up to Chase Young for Rookie of the Year. But I think this could be a prove it like I'm not going away type deal.
Yeah, so what, Scott, all these players we're naming, all that does is show you that Adam Peters knew exactly what he was doing, and they found some really good, potential diamonds in the rough that can blossom in Washington. And these are all guys that are hungry to become household names. So I think there's going to be a lot of heads banging in practice.
Love it. Can't wait. Blake Lewis, appreciate your time as always.
All right, my good friends. Good seeing you.
All right, much more to come right here on Toyota Sports Talk. Stay with